Hi, I'd like to tell you an interesting story and I hope you like it.
The year is 2042. The Earth is dying. Climate change has ravaged the planet, causing widespread droughts, floods, and wildfires. Sea levels have risen, displacing millions of people. And the air is becoming increasingly polluted, making it difficult to breathe. In this desperate time, a small group of scientists are working on a plan to save the Earth. They have developed a technology that can reverse climate change and restore the planet to its former glory. But they need time and resources to complete their work. The scientists know that time is running out. They must convince the world's governments to invest in their project. But the governments are more interested in protecting their own interests than in saving the planet. The scientists are running out of options. They know that if they don't act soon, the Earth will be lost forever. One day, the scientists receive a message from a group of aliens. The aliens say that they have been watching the Earth for some time, and they are concerned about the damage that humans have caused. They offer to help the scientists save the planet. The scientists are skeptical at first, but they eventually agree to accept the aliens' help. The aliens provide the scientists with the technology they need to complete their project. The scientists work tirelessly, and within a few years, they are successful. They reverse climate change and restore the Earth to its former glory. The humans and the aliens celebrate their victory. They have saved the Earth from destruction, and they have learned the importance of working together to protect our planet. The story ends with a message of hope. It shows that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a better future. If we work together, we can overcome any challenge, even the end of the world. The humans and the aliens were hesitant at first to work together, but they soon realized that they needed each other to save the Earth. The humans had the knowledge and experience, while the aliens had the technology and resources. They worked together to develop new technologies to help them clean up the pollution and restore the environment. They built machines that could suck up the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and they planted trees to help absorb the pollution. They also developed new ways to generate energy that were less harmful to the environment. In addition to cleaning up the environment, the humans and the aliens also worked to create a more sustainable society. They built new cities that were designed to be energy efficient, and they developed new ways to grow food that were less reliant on water and pesticides. Over time, the Earth began to recover. The air became cleaner, the water became clearer, and the forests began to grow back. The humans and the aliens lived together in peace and harmony, and they learned from their mistakes. They vowed to never let the Earth come to such a state again. Here are some specific examples of the new technologies that the humans and the aliens developed. A machine that could convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. A solar-powered desalination plant that could turn seawater into fresh water. A genetically modified tree that could absorb more carbon dioxide than a regular tree. A new type of solar panel that was more efficient and less expensive. A new way to produce biofuel that was made from waste products. These are just a few examples of the many new technologies that the humans and the aliens developed. They worked together to create a better future for themselves and for the planet. The story of the humans and the aliens is a story of hope. It shows that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a better future. If we work together, we can overcome any challenge, even the end of the world. The story also has a message about sustainability. It shows that we need to change our ways if we want to protect our planet. We need to develop new technologies that are less harmful to the environment, and we need to create a more sustainable way of living. The story of the humans and the aliens is a reminder that we are all in this together. We need to work together to save our planet, or we will all perish. Once upon a time, a group of teenagers decided to explore the magic forest. They had heard stories about the enchanted trees, fantastic animals, and witches that lived there, and they were eager to see it for themselves. Here's what happened to them. The teenagers entered the forest and were immediately struck by its beauty. The trees were tall and majestic, and the sunlight filtered through the leaves, creating a dappled effect on the forest floor. As they walked deeper into the forest, they began to notice strange things happening around them. The trees seemed to move and shift, and the animals they encountered were unlike any they had ever seen before. Suddenly, they came across a clearing in the forest. In the center of the clearing was a large stone with strange symbols etched into its surface. The teenagers were intrigued and decided to investigate. As they approached the stone, they felt a strange energy emanating from it. Suddenly, the stone began to glow and a portal opened up in front of them. Without thinking, the teenagers stepped through the portal and found themselves in a different world. The sky was a deep shade of purple and the trees were made of crystal. They were amazed by what they saw. However, they soon realized that they were not alone in this world. There were creatures lurking in the shadows, and they seemed to be watching the teenagers with interest. The teenagers tried to find their way back to the portal, but they soon realized that they were lost. They wandered through the crystal forest for what felt like hours, but they couldn't find their way back. Just when they thought they were doomed to be lost forever, they heard a voice calling out to them. It was a witch who lived in the crystal forest, and she offered to help them find their way back to the portal. The teenagers were grateful for the witch's help, and they followed her through the forest. She led them to the portal and gave them a warning before they stepped back through it. The teenagers emerged from the portal and found themselves back in the magic forest. They were relieved to be back in their own world, but they knew that they would never forget their adventure in the crystal forest. In the end, the teenagers learned that the magic forest was full of surprises and that they should always be careful when exploring new places. They also learned that there were kind witches in the world who were willing to help those in need. The building with 40 floors was a modern skyscraper located in the heart of the city. It was a marvel of engineering and architecture, with sleek lines and a towering presence that dominated the skyline. However, there was something mysterious about the 13th floor that made people uneasy. Here's the story of the building and the mysterious 13th floor. The building was constructed in the late 1990s and opened to the public in 2000. It was designed to be a mixed-use building, with offices, retail space, and luxury apartments. The building had 40 floors, with each floor measuring approximately 10,000 square feet. The top floors were reserved for the luxury apartments, while the lower floors were occupied by offices and retail space. The 13th floor was different from the other floors. It was smaller than the other floors, measuring only 5,000 square feet. It was also located between the 12th and 14th floors, which made it an oddity in the building's layout. The 13th floor was shrouded in mystery. No one knew what was on that floor, and the building's management refused to answer any questions about it. Some people speculated that it was haunted, while others believed that it was used for illegal activities. Despite the rumors, no one had ever seen anyone enter or leave the 13th floor. The elevators skipped the 13th floor, and the stairwell leading to it was always locked. One day, a group of curious teenagers decided to investigate the 13th floor. They managed to sneak into the building and make their way to the 13th floor. What they found was shocking. The 13th floor was completely empty. There were no walls, no floors, and no ceilings. It was just an empty space with nothing but the building's steel frame and concrete pillars. The teenagers were baffled by what they had found. The building's management eventually released a statement explaining that the 13th floor was left unfinished due to budget constraints. They had planned to complete it at a later date, but the project was put on hold indefinitely. The mystery of the 13th floor was finally solved, but it left many people feeling uneasy. The idea of an unfinished floor in a modern skyscraper was unsettling, and it made people question the safety and integrity of the building. In the end, the building with 40 floors and the mysterious 13th floor became a cautionary tale about the dangers of cutting corners and compromising safety in the pursuit of profit.